Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Bad Bookers Wrestling Podcast. My name is Jack, and today we are reviewing NXT. In my opinion, it was quite a weak NXT this week. Weak NXT this week. But I'm not saying it's a bad NXT. It was just a weak NXT compared to the others that we've had recently. I just put it on Twitter just before I started recording this that it was a weak one, but I was still entertained and I was still invested in all the storylines that were going on. So, main roster, Monday Night Raw, take notes, please, of how you can have a weak show, but still have entertainment and storyline progression. Please take note. But yeah, we kicked off tonight with Heavy Machinery versus The Mighty, or TM61, whatever they're calling themselves nowadays. Was a pretty standard opener to the night. Went on for about 5-10 minutes before the Street Profits came out, and they're in the crowd doing their shtick, having a little party with the crowd, and TM61, The Mighty, whatever. I don't think I'll ever stop calling them TM61. I prefer that name to The Mighty, but yeah, they got distracted a lot by the Street Profits, which led to, I think they were quite dominating at the time, but that led to, was it Drozovic tagging in Tucker Knight, which then gave the Heavy Machinery the momentum to go and win the match. So yeah, that obviously goes to the Mighty and Street Profits feud. Don't know where it would go for Heavy Machinery in terms of feuds. Because the rest of the tag teams are kind of occupied at the moment, if you will. So maybe they'll have like a three-way feud. I'm not too sure. But yeah, Heavy Machinery beating the Mighty. Next up, we had another tag team match. Mustache Mountain versus, I believe they were called Matt Knox and Brandon Taylor. I know nothing about these two, so I do apologise if they're your favourite wrestler. But I know nothing. They didn't have a tag team name. They didn't get an entrance. They didn't look like jobbers or anything. They seemed like NXT talent. And it was a fairly convincing win for Mustache Mountain. It wasn't a squash. Matt Knox and Brandon Taylor got a bit of offense in. It wasn't a squash by any means, but it's a fairly convincing win for Mustache Mountain. But it was more about the promo afterwards, where they announced that they were going to evoke their rematch clause against Undisputed Era for the tag titles at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 4, I believe it is. One of the matches that have been announced. Obviously, maybe you don't know about the card, but we over here, we've looked up the card and we know about it. Obviously, I didn't know about last week about Ciampa winning the title. I managed to steer that spoiler away, but after that happened, I was like, right, I'll have a look at the Brooklyn card, because they've recorded everything up until Brooklyn. So this was one of them, and obviously you can't really get it wrong when it's pre-recorded, and all the matches are there already announced to the live crowd. So yeah, rematch, Undisputed Era versus Mustache Mountain for the NXT tag titles. So cannot wait for that. Hopefully they put on another absolute classic. Did they get 5 stars last time? I think they did. I think they got a 5-star match when Undisputed Era won the titles back. I believe it was 5-star. Dave Meltzer rated it 5 stars, so hopefully we can get another 5-star out of them. Next up, we had EC3 versus the finest Kona Reeves, who I still don't understand. Once again, pretty standard match, and then this time, and it was another music hit, another interruption. Velveteen Dream came out, and he started talking about how, the Royal Albert Hall, the UK Championship Tournament, how Velveteen Dream walked out on EC3, the tag team. That's what their feud's based on, that Velveteen Dream just ditched him, if you will. He offered to come and let EC3 come and chat to him and whatnot. And yeah, did all that, then just walked off. Kona Reeves tried to steal the victory, but EC3 kicked out and did his finish. I forgot what his finish was called. I should probably write it down. But Yeah, EC3 hit that, picked up the win anyway. So even when the Dream distracts someone, Kona Reeves can't pick up a win. He's got this gimmick, but he's not going to get anywhere with it, I don't think. And I don't particularly like him as a wrestler or an entertainer, if you will. I just don't understand him. He's not my cup of tea, unfortunately. If you don't like him, hopefully you understand he's just not my cup of tea. Moving on, though, we had a very good match between Candice LeRae and Shayna Baszler. I believe it was a non-title match. I don't think they mentioned it, but I'm pretty sure it was a non-title match. There was a lot of work on Candice's left arm. There was a spot where she was walking across the top rope, and Shayna dragged her down, and she hurt her arm, bounced right like a midriff off the top rope and fell to the outside. Looked quite nasty, and then Shayna threw her arm first into the steel steps. So then there was a lot of work and a lot of joint manipulation on the left arm from Shayna, which was very good. But then a typical babyface, Candice came back, had that babyface fire, if you will, fought through the pain, looked very, very strong, up until Shayna eventually put in, I got the name written down somewhere, where is it? The Karakuda clutch, I believe they call it. Not the Coquina clutch, the Karakuda clutch. Shayna locked that in, and Candice tapped out, which I believe it was a non-title match. So as soon as I thought non-title match, I thought, Candice is probably going to get the win here, because if you're a champion and you're getting into a non-title match, that usually means you lose. But Shayna picks up a win. She still looks strong. Candice looks strong as well. She put on a very good performance. And just a very good match. Very good match. Bit of afters as well. After Candice tapped out, Shayna walked off, celebrated, and then came back in, put in the clutch again. The Karakuda clutch. And locked it in again. The ref was calling out other refs to help, which they did. And then eventually Kairi Sane ran in to try and make the save for Candice. As Kairi jumped into the ring, Shayna let go, walked off to the outside, and Kairi was mad, to say the least. But Kairi Sane looked to see if Candice was alright, checked if she was alright, before Shayna came back in and just booted her in the back of the head, which I thought was cool, which got Kairi even more mad. And Shayna just walked off laughing, holding up her belt. I thought this was great. Obviously, we're getting Shayna versus Kairi Sane at Brooklyn, which was announced last week. And I still think Shayna's going to retain, but I think it's going to be a very good match. They obviously had a bit of chemistry from the Mae Young Classic last year, and I believe they've had another match maybe since then. But I believe it's good. It's a good storyline. I'm really liking Shayna throughout. Still not convinced on Kairi Sane. She's obviously a very good wrestler. The whole gimmick, the whole pirate gimmick, is I'm just not into it at the moment. Windows opening. Deal. But that was the main event match of the evening. After this was the last 15 minutes was a promo with, as he was very avidly pointing out, and every 2 seconds seemed to be pointing out, your new NXT champion, Tommaso Ciampa, came out, and he was just taunting the crowd. He was just drawing as much heat as possible, and he was loving every minute of it. You can tell. I would love to be Tommaso Ciampa right now. He has the crowd eating out of the palm of his hands at every little thing he does. It's incredible. He's just garnered so much heat from everything. He even got into, I believe they call him the grandma of NXT, I think someone said on Twitter. He got in her face and said that, oh, I'm your new champion now. Stuff like that. The crowd are all over him. Loved every minute of it. He talked about how he ended Johnny Gargano's fairy tale, how he put the final nail in Aleister Black's coffin and whatnot. And before long, Aleister Black's music hit, and he started to walk down the ring to confront Tommaso Ciampa before Johnny Gargano, out of absolutely nowhere, just sprinted past Aleister Black and started wading in on Tommaso Ciampa, threw Tommaso Ciampa over the barricades, and then picked up the mic and said, he said it about 10 times. He didn't say anything else. He just said it about 10 times. Said, "Oh, Ciampa, the only reason why you're NXT champion is because of me." Like I said, he said that about 10 times. Turned around, only to be met by a black mass to the black mass to the chin, even, from Aleister Black. And it made a lovely sound as well. Lovely sound. And then Aleister Black picked up the mic and said, "Yeah, you're probably right, Johnny. You are the only reason why Tommaso Ciampa is NXT champion." And even the crowd was shouting, "You deserve it," to Gargano. So I don't know what that suggests to... he did deserve it, to be fair, but I don't know what that suggests to Johnny Gargano, because inklings that the crowd might be turning on him. Inklings are there. Screaming, "You deserve it," to the company's top babyface. Granted, he did deserve it, but maybe a little bit of doubts there nowadays from the crowd. But anyway, that was NXT. Like I said, it wasn't as action-packed as some of the other NXTs has been recently, but it's still progress storylines. I believe I did say... going back, I missed some stuff. Mustache Mountain, they did a promo saying how they're going to beat the Undisputed Era and whatnot. They got interrupted by the War Raiders and said, "It doesn't matter who wins at Brooklyn. We're going to come for the titles. We're going to beat you or them," as they said. And so yeah, it's good way of putting War Raiders into the title picture, because they're the War Raiders, or War Machine, however you remember them as. They will eventually win the tag titles, whether that be off Mustache Mountain or off Undisputed Era. I believe War Games is the next. I believe that's Survivor Series weekend. So it wouldn't surprise me if we had War Machine and Ricochet versus Mustache Mountain or British Strong Style, Tyler Bate, Trent Seven, Pete Dunne, with Undisputed Era. That wouldn't surprise me if that was the match type in War Games. And yeah, it was just good how he inserted War Machine in there as, you know, as a couple of monsters. They don't care what's going to happen. They got one thing on their minds, that's the titles, which is fantastic. And William Regal, he announced a couple of more matches. He announced that EC3 was going to take on Velveteen Dream at Brooklyn. And was there another match? And the match, Ricochet versus Adam Cole for the North American title. So Brooklyn, NXT TakeOver Brooklyn's looking very, very good at the moment. You just always look at the TakeOver cards and think, wow, it's just incredible card. Some incredible wrestlers on there. And I can't wait for it. How long's, like 2-3 weeks now? It's going to be good. It's going to be a good evening. But yeah, that was the end of NXT. Like I said, it was quite a... Going back to what I was saying before, I missed a few bits. It was a weak show, in my opinion, but it was still entertaining. There's still a lot of story progression, which you just don't get that on the main roster. When it's a weak show on the main roster, nothing happens. Especially Raw that's just gone Monday. Like, no storyline progression, in my opinion, and it was dull. It was so dull. Whereas NXT was weak, not much in terms of wrestling action, but storyline progression, entertaining was all there. So I guess that's what NXT has got over Raw, as well as many things. But yeah, that was NXT. Please subscribe. We are recording the podcast tonight, or whenever you watch this, Thursday night. So any questions, leave them down in the comments, or tweet us at Bad Bookers Wrestling Podcast, not the tweet. Bad Bookers WP. There you go. And yeah, next time you'll see me is next Monday, I believe. Is there a wrestling show this week? I feel like I'm going to miss it. World of Sport. World of Sport's on Saturday. We won't do reviews on World of Sport, but if you're in England, ITV 5 o'clock every Saturday. World of Sport. It was good last week. It was decent in my opinion. But yeah, can't wait for episode 2. But yeah, I will see you on Monday for Monday Night Raw. Hopefully it's better than this week. Fingers crossed. But yeah, thank you and goodbye.